All right, started a new channel. I'm calling this channel Political Sin. So, not sure how I'm going to start out these videos now, but this is going to be on, since I'm doing a lot of political content, I'm going to move all my stuff to a separate channel specifically for news, culture, politics, that type of thing. So, let's get to the story real quick. This is actually a really, really big deal to me and many people, because this is actually a video about censorship of big tech, but it all starts with the story from the New York Post, who revealed Biden's secret emails. All right. So we all know that everyone attacks Trump and his somewhat whatever connections that he made with Russia, Ukraine, all this stuff that has no substantiation at all. So now everyone's bringing their attention to probably the most corrupt child. When you combine Joe Biden and Trump's kids, Hunter Biden is probably like the worst out of all of them. And this article got a hold of emails from this Ukrainian executive and Hunter Biden. And then let's just go down to the biggest smoking gun, as they call it, on this article. This is from the Ukrainian businessman who says, "Dear Hunter, thank you for inviting me to DC and giving an opportunity to meet your father and spend some time together. It's really an honor and pleasure. As we spoke yesterday evening, would be great to meet today for a quick coffee. What do you think? I could come to your office somewhere around noon or so before or on my way to the airport." This story really matters because Biden's been saying he's never met with any Ukrainian businessman or whatever. But as this email that the New York Post found, they're calling that bullcrap, because this is a scandal. This is a really big scandal that Hunter Biden and Joe Biden has this business relationship that is going against what you would do as president, because you have this business connection with Ukraine, all this stuff. There's a lot of corruption behind it. You guys can just read the article. But like I said, it all started with this article. And then let's go to the second article by the New York Post. So the New York Post now makes another article about Twitter, Facebook censor posts over Hunter Biden expose. So the biggest part of this article, which states in the first paragraph, both Twitter and Facebook took extraordinary censorship measures against the Post on Wednesday over his exposés about Hunter Biden's emails and leveled baseless accusations that the reports used hacked materials. And then let's go all the way bottom here. The senator demanded to know how Twitter had determined that the Post story was violating its policy on hacked materials and why the company had taken the unprecedented action to lock the news org's account. Guys, the New York Post was founded in 1801. I just looked at their Wikipedia. They've been around. They're a legitimate national news network site or whatever. They are legitimate. This isn't the Sin blog, which is my blog, which I just write stuff and I just report on what other people report on. These are people that have their anonymous sources or sources that are legitimate, that they can protect. So if it ever goes to court, they would win because they have all the evidence, they have everything. They are legitimate, because when you slander and you do libel, you could get sued, which the New York Post, they obviously understand that. So they would not release an article and they wouldn't do anything if they could get fired, they could lose money, they could get sued, they could lose their rights to whatever, to press or whatever, to post these articles. So this is really, really crazy, because election is coming up in 3 weeks. And let's just go to the tweets from Andy Stone himself. So this guy, Andy Stone, communications at Facebook. So he works and he's like a representative for Facebook. While I will intentionally not link to the New York Post, I want to be clear that this story is eligible to be fact-checked by Facebook's third-party fact-checking partners. In the meantime, we are reducing its distribution on our platform. I call bullcrap on this, on what he's saying, because you can do that with anyone until Facebook's third-party whatever fact-checking partners, they could literally do that with anyone. So they could censor anyone, and then you go wait it out. You go wait. Our fact checkers are still checking it out. Maybe 1 week later, 2 weeks later, maybe after the freaking election, they'll come up with their fact checking results. This is clear censorship. Big tech, which this one starts with Facebook, is clearly showing partisan favor because they are nitpicking this one story that apparently they're not allowed to show hacked materials. Does the New York Post, so the big question is, does the New York Post, are they showing something that's hacked? That is the big question. Is Twitter allowed to do this? Now let's go to the next tweet by, I'm sorry, it's hard for me to say his name, Sohrab Ahmari. So he's the op-ed editor of the New York Post, and he said, this is a big tech information coup. This is a digital civil war. I am editor at the New York Post, one of the nation's largest papers by circulation. Can't post one of our own stories that details corruption by a major party presidential candidate. So this is on the Twitter side of things. Your tweet couldn't be sent because this link has been identified by Twitter or our partners as being potentially harmful. This is crazy because if they got the rights to this email legitimately, then they're able to show information that could potentially be harmful to the other side, because this shows some type of corruption from Hunter Biden. It's something that I really can't understand. Someone or organization like the New York Post gets to be silenced over articles on hacked materials. So you have senators, you have guys in Congress like Ted Cruz writing to Twitter, writing to Jack Dorsey about how, this censorship this cannot be tolerated. Like, we need to regulate big tech. And then Josh Hawley saying the same thing. He's a lawyer, U.S. Senator from Missouri. He's saying also, so he's going after big tech too. So he's putting forward a bill that will allow Americans to sue big tech for censorship and unfair treatment. And then this apparently violates the FEC, potential violation over federal election law. So he's going to attack that. Like, this is something that both sides are allowed to do. You get to go after Trump over whatever conspiracies or legitimate that you can, as long as you don't break the law. The same thing is on the other side. The right gets to criticize the left. The left gets to criticize the right. If they get some dirty laundry on each other, they're allowed to let it out. And this email, all the images and stuff that they got from Hunter Biden showing him smoking crack or all this crazy nonsense that he's doing, and all these corrupt business dealing that he has, that needs to be in the light. Because if you censor those parts, you're censoring away valuable information that voters like myself or voters that have not decided need to decide which person they're going to vote. And we're always jockeying each side to blast each other away with information that is rightfully criticized for each side. Now, I am all for regulation. I'm all for regulation of big tech companies. I like to think of regulating these social media companies because I forgot the number. It was like 80%, whatever. It was a large number of Americans on social media. That's where most of our dialogue is being. That's all. Most of our dialogue is happening at. So over time, as we're on social media, when the internet became more of a thing, when cell phones became more of a thing, when broadcasting radio, what did they do? Capitalism itself cannot facilitate what's the outcome that we want in our republic. So we needed to regulate internet So things like people can't throttling you for your internet, cell phone coverage. They can't mess with your cell phone because a lot of our economy in our workplace is relied heavily upon our internet. So if companies that are privately owned, publicly traded, are not regulated, they can mess with your internet. They could turn it on and off your internet. They can mess with your cell phone signals. They could do all this stuff, all these corrupt things to mess with you for whatever gain that they're looking for, whether it be about money or censorship. These are the things why we regulate it, to make sure that the republic, like freedom of speech, these things that are happening are dealt fairly. Like, you could say whatever you want, but when you have our gatekeepers like the big tech companies, Facebook, Google, Twitter, whatever else, like help censoring one side, making one side louder, that is not something we actually want in our republic. And it's typically conservative voices, right-wing voices that is being censored from all of this. And, we all know Silicon Valley, that's where all the social media websites are built in. They all have these liberal leftist type of views. And so one side is always being taken advantage over the other. And so this is why this story matters so much, because Hunter Biden has a corrupt past, and we could put the dots together of his corrupt dealings, that he is the one actually making deals with Ukraine and having Ukraine businesses, he's on the board of this Ukraine business, that he's on his board of this Chinese business. He has all these connections that are for sure corrupt, that he worked for China. He helped put together this Chinese conglomerate who ended up stealing American military information, and then the US charged them for it. So Hunter Biden has these on his plate. There is substantiated evidence that he is a part of all of this. So this is why this story really matters, because Hunter Biden, or Joe Biden as president, has a son. You're going to do anything that you can to protect your son. You're going to lie, you're going to whatever. And so world leaders, other politicians from other countries, they will weaponize that against you. So as president, you need to do things to help the American people, not stuff for your corrupt son. That is just what, I'm trying to say. That, if Ivanka or Donald Trump Jr. does corrupt things, like the shady thing that Donald Trump Jr. did was meet up with that Ukraine or Russian person to try to get dirt or whatever on Hillary Clinton or whatever. That is shady as hell, but not as shady as what Hunter Biden did, in terms of he actually making money in Ukraine and helping Vice President at that time, Joe Biden, meet up with him. But I'll let you guys read the articles. These people work hard to give us good information, but I don't want to give away everything in the story, so I'll link everything below in the description. But yeah, this is clearly why we need regulation on big tech companies, to let freedom of speech go. Like, every left-wing people, they agree with this censorship until it will happen to them. Trust me, bank on that. When you get censored by one of these companies, now you will understand what freedom of speech means. So I'll end this video right here. We all die. Live the life you want to live, but if you don't like the world you live in, you must do something about it. And so me and you, we could do something about it. I'll see you guys on the next one. Comment, like, subscribe. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. See you guys.